Well, good evening.
What's up, everyone? I am Smarky Mark, and this...
Straight up TKD.
Straight up as always. And we're here to talk about AEW Worlds End. Just went off the air. This is...
Yet another wrestling show.
And we know that there are plenty of wrestling shows out there. We appreciate you giving ours the time of day. Let's get into it.
Alright, so like the man said, we are talking about Worlds End 2024.
And just for you guys, we watched everything, including the 0 hour.
The 0 hour, and that's not to say it was hard to put up with, but let's just say, with all the wrestling content there is nowadays, consuming everything is a little bit of a task.
A little bit of a task is putting it mildly. So let's go.
Exactly. Let's get into it. So, first match we had was Toni Storm against Lila Gray.
Lila Gray. And it was a pretty solid match. It did what it needed to do. Toni Storm is in her rebuilding time. I mean, she just debuted, according to what she's saying. I remember her being a champion at one point.
And this whole crazy gimmick thing, I'm personally hoping to see Timeless Toni Storm come back. That gimmick was great. It was a real highlight of the show, and it was great for the women's division. But her taking this turn to it and maybe giving us a break and then taking a deeper turn into that character could also be interesting. But in terms of this match, I thought there was some solid work, but at the end of the day, it felt just a little bit there. It did what it needed to do, like you said. Around 6-ish minutes, I don't know, ended with a via surprise roll-up. Yeah, not too much else to say on this one. Marcus, what do you think?
I'm like you. I thought it was a solid match. This was a pre-show match. It was not. They didn't do too much out there. They didn't do too little. Crowd liked it. Crowd liked Toni Storm anyway. And I thought it was an okay way to kick off the show, get them a little hyped. Taylor?
So your score? By the way, how we're going to actually score each match, we're going to do what we call the wrestle scale. So we're going to judge each match out of 10, also 0.5s in between, so anything from a 0 to 5 point whatever, 6 point whatever, 10, based on how well we thought the match went, based on all sorts of different criteria. We're not going to get into it right now. But so what would you score it, Mark?
It's 3.5, maybe a 4. Again, did what it needed to do, but it was a very bare bones, simple match.
Yeah, I would agree somewhat. I'm going to go with a 4. Then moving on to QT Marshall,
who looks in great shape, by the way.
Oh yeah, great shape, fantastic shape.
He's got a shelf.
Guy looks cut.
Yes.
Versus Jeff Jarrett, who also
does not look as cut. Does not look as cut, but the man's in his 50s.
This is almost like the match of a guy who's just entering his 40s and a guy who's in his mid 50s.
Yeah,
I can't remember exactly how old Jeff Jarrett is, but he's still.
Well, when you've been watching the guy since forever, he may be 200 for all we know.
Yeah, and it seems like QT's still wearing his. It's not Boom attire, but it's like Doom attire. So I wonder if another match with Big Boom, is it Big Boom AJ?
Yeah, it's Big Boom
yeah,
AJ,
Big Boom AJ is on the horizon, because that match at the pre-show before was great.
I hope so. That was a wonderful surprise to see that match do so well on the pre-show at Full Gear. Was it Full Gear?
Full Gear.
Yeah, was a wonderful match. I hope they have this for every match.
And not to mention, Jeff Jarrett hitting an enziguri during this match was fantastic. Fantastic, and also a tribute to Owen with the sharpshooter. It was a great little match, but my overall score on the wrestle scale for this one would be a little bit better than the first match, but not a whole lot better. Just some classic, good old-fashioned style wrestling in this one. 5 out of 10.
You know what? I think that's a very fair score. I agree. Crowd was white hot for this. The crowd was actually very hot for this. These two guys, if anything, they know how to work a crowd very well. Jeff Jarrett's been doing that for God knows how long now.
There was actually a good lead into the finish, Jay Lethal making the save, the floppy fish with the trade off with the pins into the stroke.
Yes,
it's good stuff.
And also, I gotta say, this was as basic of a match as you're going to see. Maybe a move or two here. This was as basic of a match, but these two guys made the most of it, and this crowd loved it. This crowd did love it.
Simple but smooth, and everything looked good.
Yes.
Around 9 minutes and 29 seconds for that one, so they gave it a little bit more time, which also made for a little bit better of a match.
I agree. Yes.
And then after that, we had the Tony.
Can I get this one? Yeah, let's see.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Let's see this one. We had Top Flight and the Outrunners, who have my favorite entrance right now. That VHS entrance, I love it so much. I love the Outrunners so much. They faced Action Andrade, Leo Rush, and the Murder Machines.
Yes.
AKA
Cage and Archer?
Thank you very much. Cage and Archer.
Do they have another tag team name on top of that?
And by the way, Brian Cage, I miss the Wolverine look. He looks like Matt Morgan right now. I don't know what it is. Every time I look at him, I see 2009 Matt Morgan. Yeah, with that beard. He needs the Wolverine look back.
And he's kind of just going for a basic look with he's just wearing black now.
He looks very generic.
He always used to do some sort of superhero kind of theme with his gear, and he'd always used to be kind of flashy, like and good, and like everything like that. But I don't know. Maybe he's just trying something different.
I'm all for innovation. I'm all for trying it. I just miss the Wolverine look very much. So.
And speaking of Cage and Archer, nice teamwork from them in this match. Huge power moves. Oh wow, they're really coming together as a tag team. Speaking of coming together as a tag team, they've already came together as a tag team and are just over in general. Outrunners. Jason.
The Outrunners.
Mark.
I believe that they are the next tag team champions. I'm surprised they haven't actually won the belts by now, as much as I love Private Party. I do think it's their time. I do think it's time to pull the trigger on them. Speaking of Private Party, they were watching from the back this entire match, and they got 4 teams here that could be their next contenders right here. This was your standard AEW pre-show party match.
Yep.
Everyone hits a move.
Great spot fest.
Yeah, everyone hits a move. Everyone hits 10 million moves, actually. This was a lot of fun to watch. One of the moves that they had, these moves you're talking about, the chokeslam last ride combo
by Archer and Cage.
Archer and Cage, that I'm surprised
Ridiculous.
I'm surprised Undertaker Kane never did that their entire run as a tag team.
That was
a hell of a spot.
That was fantastic.
That was a hell of a spot.
Fantastic.
Followed by a frog splash from Leo Rush, I believe, to win.
Yep, at around 10 minutes 48 seconds. They gave this one a little bit more time too.
A lot of quick tags, a lot of fun this match.
Yeah, a little bit all over the place. Also nice teamwork from Leo Rush and Action Andretti. Also matching up their gear. Maybe there's going to be a little bit behind this tag team going forward. I would personally love to see Andretti and Rush feud with Top Flight ASAP. Hopefully ending in like some sort of a ladder match via like how Edge and Christian started facing the Hardys. At first they meet in kind of a tag team turmoil situation. Then they have a match. Then they have another bigger match. And hopefully the teams can just make themselves out of that.
Well, this could be a way to start that. Yeah, I know you pitched when we were watching the actual show, best of 5 or something.
Yeah, those lines. You know what I mean? Something like that.
Maybe something like that. Yeah,
that'd be cool.
That would be a good idea. This was. I thought the pre-show. Yeah, it did go by. That 1 hour did go by pretty quickly. Now we get on to the main thing, the meat and potatoes.
Hold on. Before we get to that, we still got to score this match.
Right. I'm sorry.
So I'm going to score
Smarky Mark does not think twice.
So I'm going to go first. I put this at a 5.5 out of 10.
I'll go a bit higher. I'll say 6. I thought that this set the tone for the rest of the night. Again, the crowd was very hyped by the end of it, and this was the perfect pre-show match. It's got the crowd really into the show and really into the beginning of the show.
I almost feel like this would have been also good as an opening to the 0 hour, because maybe Toni Storm and Lila Gray would have been gone a little bit better in the middle. Just with the hot crowd.
Also keep in mind, in Toni Storm's mind, she's about a month into the business. Do you really main event the show, or do anything other than an opener, even a pre-show?
You don't want to put the rookie under that much pressure.
Exactly, I would feel bad for if that were the case. But we do need to get to the actual show, which kicked off with a phenomenal promo using Guns N' Roses music that just hyped up everything.
Welcome to the jungle.
Welcome to the jungle.
In my terrible
imitation
of
that was good job. You're straight up. You know that.
But starting off the main show was a banger. Will Ospreay, Kyle Fletcher, semifinals of the Continental Classic. Great, fantastic match.
Before you get into the actual match, I just want to point out what a year Will Ospreay's had on pay-per-view. I'm sorry, I do need to bring this up. I don't like his debut match with Takeshita at Revolution.
Yeah.
Hell of a match, followed by the match with Bryan Danielson, which may be the match of the year as we stand right now. Followed by a match with MJF, with Pac, with the man he's facing tonight, Kyle Fletcher, last month. Dude is just on a roll of banger match.
Fire!
Yes. And Fuego. I need to point that out. I'm sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
No problem at all. It's a fact. How do you pick a match of the year candidate from some of the matches he's had, just him alone?
But, I know. We should do, I believe it was Dave Meltzer who said, by the end of the year, we need to do a best match of the year and a best match of the year that does not involve Will Ospreay.
Yeah.
Because I think that would easier to narrow it down.
Yeah. Anyways, entrances. Kyle's gear looked actually pretty cool. I gotta admit, that was one thing I kind of noticed.
One thing you did bring up, though, while we're on the gear very quickly, both of them wearing the same color may not have been the best idea.
Yeah,
they did kind of look like a tag. They were a tag. They were a team at one point, but
yeah,
I don't know. Just something didn't sit right.
It's happened a couple of times recently on AEW where people have been wearing gear where it kind of seems like they're more of a tag team going into a match than it is a small nitpick, but yeah. Yeah, and then a hell of a lot of exchange in this match. It was so much fast-paced action at different points. There was a really nice creative spot into the apron bomb and then into the lawn dart into the guardrail, which caused
a massive gusher. Gusher out of Will Ospreay.
Nigel even said that on commentary.
And we're 5 minutes into this battle. I just want to point this out. We're 5 minutes into the match. He does the gusher.
Yeah.
Before you get to that, I got to get here. Fletcher's getting great heat from the crowd. He stands up on the barricade. The crowd is booing him like crazy. Yeah. He does the Flair strut on the barricade, followed by the DX crotch chop.
Fantastic.
I loved it so much.
Yeah, that was great heel work, actually, for sure. He's really coming into his own as a heel and trying to solidify his identity and move his way up, and it's working for me. So Great Trader moves into a combo with a Spanish Fly that ends into a false finish rather. That was or a 2 count rather. That was fantastic. They did another chop fest into another great exchange, ending with the Oz Cutter. Oh man, that was crazy. And then when Kyle Kyle got the roll up and he was using the ropes for the 2 count and then hit the blade right after that.
Yeah.
Oh, that was another fantastic 2 count. Yeah, huge match. And then Oz wins with the Styles Clash of all things. It was great.
Styles Clash of all things. Has he won a match with that in AEW?
No, but
I don't believe
he hit Darby on no, not last week's Impact, the week before the Holiday Bash.
Dynamite.
Or sorry, Dynamite. Sorry, no, not Impact.
Dynamite.
Wrong show.
Wrong show completely. on Dynamite.
I feel like James Vanderbeek in Scary Movie. Wrong set.
Yeah, get out of here. What the hell are you doing? It's my show now. Okay. So,
but anyway, he hit that off the apron onto the floor. And that didn't end the match, but that's how they keep you guessing.
Yeah. Now, I'm someone. Their match last month, I did think was a hell of a match. I was not crazy about the finish. Mainly because the tombstone onto the stairs I thought was not so much overkill,
off the apron,
but that should have finished the match. That was an incredible spot. That should have been the finish. And like I said, Will Ospreay should have been off TV for at least a couple weeks to sell that.
But it more or less was the finish of the match. He just got him in and then
he hit another big. There was still a kick out. There was still that. I actually thought was a better match.
But there was no more actual offense from Will after that.
He didn't move, but still, he was able to get his shot.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying.
Anyway, we can go back and forth about this, the amount of near falls in pro wrestling nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
But this match I actually thought was better. This match I thought was more condensed. This one I thought told a better story. And
it was tight.
It was tight. Yeah, they only had how long? How long was the match?
About 17 minutes.
About 17 minutes. Yeah, they didn't go too crazy with the near falls. They had to be careful not to get too many in there because it is the opener.
Yeah.
Normally I don't like blood in an opener, but it did tell a fantastic story, which we'll get to.
And that one spot because Kyle's wearing the white kick pads,
yes.
And then those are ruined, by the way. But one of the first things he does is those Kawada kicks right into one of the bloodiest faces we've seen.
Crimson and yes,
and then licks it off.
Yeah, licks it off. Licks his hand, does the template, licks the hand. He's just on fire. Kyle Fletcher's amazing.
And you actually made a funny call earlier, how he kind of looks like Matt Damon.
It looks like
Euro Trip, Kyle Fletcher.
I think he does. Comment below if you agree. I believe he does look like.
Comment if you agree, for sure.
I believe he looks like Matt Damon in Euro Trip. Scotty doesn't know. Smarky Mark knows. He does look like that.
And so what was the next match we had up there?
I thought that was... No. You called me on it for last time. You did not grade the thing.
Oh my gosh.
What's wrong with you, man?
Now it's my fault. It's my fault.
Okay, so let's grade the thing. Scale 1 to 10. What'd you feel, Tail?
I'm going to go with an 8.5 on Ospreay versus Fletcher. Fantastic match. Great finish. Kind of caught me off guard with that Styles Clash being the finish. Yep. Also, I just felt it was a great 1-for-1 now in their series. And it makes me more interested to see a third match now that not only Ospreay got the win back, but also now outshined Kyle again, and also took the win away from him, took the glory away from him. Can't win the tournament. He didn't get his chance.
Now, if only they had a show coming up in Australia where they could do a tiebreaker. If only they had a show in Australia coming up that they could do a tiebreaker on.
Well, I believe from Australia, though. I'm joking. I know Kyle's from damn Australia.
Oh, I can never tell when he's bluffing, folks. Okay, match number 2, the second match in the tournament, in the Continental Classic. We have Ricochet versus Kazuchika Okada. Now, these guys, they knew that they were not going to follow that opener. They knew that they weren't, so they were very smart. They worked a very slow, methodical pace that kept building and building and building. And by the end, it turned into a very good match, I feel. It took a while to get going. Crowd was a little deflated after what we saw in the opener. We knew that was going to happen. Okada got a phenomenal reaction. Ricochet, as we've seen, he's been on the border of being heel, being not heel. I think to kind of solidify that he is pretty fully heel right now.
Well, yeah. So
the crowd teasing him about the baldness. And,
Ricochet for sure. Yeah. Nah. Your bald chant. That was great. That was funny. Also, great spot from Okada with the slap spot.
Yes, he did very Kenta-ish.
Yes, very Kenta-ish.
Go, and then right to the back. Crowd loved that. That actually got the biggest pop of the match right there.
You think so?
I think it did. Yeah, of the match, sure. Not the show. Not
Fair enough. It was good. It was good.
If Ricochet wants to stay a heel, though, he does need to stop doing so many cool moves. It reminds me of AJ Styles in 2010. When he was trying to get be Ric Flair's mentor,
or like 2007 when he was with Christian Cage. Yeah.
Where it's like he's still putting on great match, but it's like he's doing so many flips that he's not a heel, right? And with that said, back to the actual match.
And it was a good story kind of in the match as well, with like Okada's no nonsense, simple yet effective, hard hitting approach, clotheslines, suplexes, counters, ripcords, wrist control, stuff like that, versus Ricochet's speed, ability, and those fancy moves like you were talking about. So so that did have the story of the match, but it would have been stronger had there been maybe a little bit less of that from Ricochet and more heel work.
Yeah. Well, yeah, no, like I said, he's new to this heel thing right now, so we need to see where it goes. But I'm saying if he wants to keep this up, he does need to do far less cool moves.
Yes.
Because he did tone down the cool moves in this match, but he still did quite a few. So
you make a good point. Make a good point.
Now, there was a nice sequence with a clothesline powerbomb, shovel pile driver, shooting star press from Ricochet, that got 2.
Oh, big near fall.
Big near fall right there. That did get a huge pop.
Yeah.
And then Okada wins with the Rainmaker. Again, I thought this was a really good match. A huge, different kind of match from the opener. Again, they were smart. They didn't try to mimic what the opener did, but they did their own thing. I would
pace differently.
Very paced differently. I'd say about a 7 for this match would do it for me.
So on the Wrestle scale, I'm gonna go close. I'm gonna go with a 6.5 on this one. It was about 14-minute match, roughly around there, and it was just solid and some good sequences and. Somewhat, I don't know, I don't want to say it was a predictable outcome, but
I think we kind of knew what the finals would be.
I think at this point, I think at this point, fans are more so not necessarily expecting, but craving Will Ospreay versus Okada in an American pay-per-view setting versus Will Ospreay and Ricochet again, because we had them
twice now.
And then we also had them in the triple threat, or is that what you're including in twice?
No, because when they first came in, then in the Continental
Classic too, right? Yeah. So technically, we've kind of seen them 3 times. So it's So Okada being put forward, I think it was a good decision. So, but overall, just kind of a solid match. 6.5 out of 10.
But then we got the post match, which Swerve Strickland coming out with Prince Nana, trying to wish Ricochet a Happy New Year by with toilet paper
and quote unquote going to clean up his mess. I thought it was a great little promo. Good smack talk from Swerve again. He continues to prove why he deserves his spot where he is in AEW, and him and Ricochet doing some stuff going forward, I think would be good.
I think it was. It good
looks like they're setting that up
to what we could see. What we could see next year with these guys. Yeah, again, Ricochet. I want him to continue down the path that he's going on right now. I think a feud with him and Swerve could be something really good, really special to watch. So
Happy New Year, Trevor. Indeed.
After this, before we get to the next match.
No. There was another promo.
That's what I was going to. With Mr. Will Ospreay backstage cutting a fiery promo immediately after his match, saying that no matter how many banger matches there are on the show, he needs the crowd behind him tonight to win.
And he lives for this SH1T, and it was great. And he's also going to Disney World, because they're in Orlando, don't you know?
Couldn't even say the I. Okay. Couldn't even say the I.
I'm not saying
You're not saying the I. We are not like that. We are not like that, folks. We're not white trash, although we look it. All right. Now, I also want to point out at this point in the show, this show, for the first few for a lot of the matches in between, to me, it felt like the show of matches where the first half, nothing really happens of these matches. The second half, they kick into second gear and they do something really good. So I don't know if that was just me watching this, but every time that these matches, it'd be like I could skip the first 5 minutes or the first 10 minutes and then go into the finishing stretch and really have missed nothing. So I don't know if that was just me, but starting with this match, then a couple matches which we'll get to. Mm-hmm. But I do need to point that out that I did get that feeling throughout the show. I don't know if anyone else did.
Yeah, this match, that match with Ricochet and Okada definitely was one of those examples where it kind of picked up towards the end, especially with that ending counter into the Rainmaker was especially nice. That kind of seems to be a little bit of a theme.
Yeah, I thought so. So, anyways, up next
we have Thunder Rosa versus Mariah May.
I love your pronunciation.
I'm trying.
In a
Tijuana street fight.
Got it.
For the AEW Women's World Championship. This was violent. This was great.
This was something. Go ahead.
And there was also a nice emotional tag in with Thunder Rosa's dad actually being ringside.
Killer mustache.
Mariah, killer mustache. Senior Benjamin, eat your heart out. And starts off with Thunder Rosa just jumping on Mariah May off of that because Mariah May was talking crap to her dad. Great stuff. Seemed like early on they were going okay, and then there was a little bit of I don't know if it was a miscommunication, but it seemed like Mariah May was kind of going for a drop kick, and then at the same time, Thunder Rosa was going for a leg sweep, and it looked like either a really big leg sweep or just a missed drop kick, and either way,
it was they brawled up.
Very small hiccup in what is a great match.
Yeah, they brawled up to the ramp early on. There was a DDT on the ramp.
Yeah.
Then they had stuff props kind of set up on the ramp there. I don't know what this was. It was a cutout on the stage. Mariah May,
board or something. Yeah,
Mariah May grabbed some tequila and just spit a big loogie-filled tequila right into poor Thunder Rosa's face. Thunder Rosa's response. It is tequila. Come on. Do you want a street fight for
Had to be.
Anyway, spear right through this. Again, I don't know if it was cardboard. It was a cutout. It did look really good though.
Yeah, it looked good.
And go ahead.
And then a little bit later on in the match, there was a nice airplane spot by Thunder Rosa into a Death Valley driver. And then another point goes and pulls out the thumbtacks.
Out of a piñata.
From the piñata.
From a piñata. That was a nice surprise. That was a nice... Gotta stop smoking before we do this.
Oh, God. And then Thunder actually ends up taking the bump from the... what does she call that? It's almost like the cradle shock, but...
It is a cradle shock, pretty much.
Well, sort of, yeah. It's called something different.
Before you go on, I need to point out, this was the best Nigel performance on comment. Nigel is such a cuck for Mariah May. It is so wonderful. Oh, man. No, Nigel's on fire in this match, man. Yeah, I think he even said he was a simp. Yeah, simping ain't easy, man. So,
oh, man.
Nigel's simping for Mariah May is one of my favorite things to listen to. So, I do need to point that out. Sorry, go ahead.
Just terrible.
Just
pants.
Wonderful.
Keep it in your pants.
I love it.
Anyways, Thunder just gets covered in thumbtacks from that bump. It looked, oh my God, they were just all over her back. That was, whew. And then Mariah takes her dad's cane and then starts to beat her down.
Which did get a huge reaction. That was a great moment. That was
fantastic.
Grabs the cane from ringside. I do got to point out at this point in the match, I don't know why they did the thumbtack spot so early. It felt like we're 5 minutes into this thing, they do a thumbtack spot, and then they just kind of move on from it. That's a spot that should end a match. I just felt. I don't know if again it's just me nitpicking a little bit. Yeah, I did like it. It still did look really good.
Mariah didn't end up going over, so
she did. She did end up going over. The finish to the match, it was a little off. She took was it graveyard dust? Is that what they called it?
Oh no! It was dirt from the
from the graveyard,
from the cemetery part of some of her family was buried.
Yeah,
I can't remember if it was a specific member, if it was her mom or.
It was someone. It was from a cemetery. It was from a cemetery. That's all we know.
Yeah.
Anyway, tries to throw it right in Thunder Rosa's face. She missed by about a mile, so they did have to try and trigger it. The finish itself was actually really good though. Pile driver off the apron through the table.
Oh wow, yeah, that looked devastating.
That did look really good. Mariah May gets the win. It is Falls Count Anywhere. And this was a very fun street fight. Despite the storyline going in, I think everyone knew that Thunder Rosa was not going to win. They have that big Australia show. Mariah May is not dropping the title tonight. So I think that did kind of affect. The crowd was kind of hit and miss for this. I found they reacted to the stuff, but they didn't react so much to.
Plus maybe it's more of a thing where it's like Thunder with an AH at the end. No, Thunder's been doing good stuff since she came back, but hasn't really had too much steam put behind her to have like a title change go in her favor at this point.
I agree. And plus also, again, you got a big show in Australia, you got one of your biggest Australian stars.
Yeah.
It's not the time to take the title off them before the big show. So, again, I didn't think anyone thought, including myself, that Thunder
Rosa... We're on our way to a Tony Mariah rematch.
Well, again, if she gets more experience in those couple of months coming up.
Yeah.
I thought this was one of the weaker matches on the show. Just my opinion. This match isn't really my kind of thing. I did still like it. I give it maybe 6.5 for me.
Wrestle scale rating for me, I would have to say... I'm going to go with a 7 out of 10. There was good emotional stuff with her dad and stuff with this match. You know, like maybe a miscue with the dirt or whatever, but that pile driver was deadly. The thumbtack usage was, also really brutal. It was what it really needed to be, considering they haven't had like a huge amount of time and build up for this match.
Also,
they tried to pull out as much as they could have. Given the circumstances.
And on top of that, outside of the main event, a little bit in the main event, this was really the only hardcore element to the show. Before we go on, I want to point out too, Tony Khan, listening to the fans, he only had 8 matches on this main show. Love that. Also, he started letting the matches breathe a little. There were interviews, same as with the commentators, we let stuff sink in. I do love to see that. I really don't like when it's all action, when it's like, match is over, on to the next match, match is over, on to the next match. I don't like that, so I do like the fact that they let this show breathe. Yeah,
you had a second to think about it and reflect on what kind of happened during the match, some of your favorite moments and spots, and everything like that. And it's a little bit better just having 8 matches.
Yes, as opposed to 12 or 13. So
just having 8 matches is, who knew?
Who knew it's a good idea?
It's a good way to do it. It's a good way to do it. Exactly. So, and then what do we have here for our next match?
We have Adam Cole Bebe against Maxwell Jacob Friedman, MJF. In one of the most cursed... This may be the weirdest, strangest build to a match ever due to injuries and due to them constantly...
For the Dynamite Diamond Ring.
That precious Dynamite Diamond Ring. And, I don't know, I cannot think of a weirder storyline that's happened that's kind of had nothing to really do with the talent, but just plague of injuries. Yeah. The fact that, there were heel turns when there wasn't supposed to be, babyface turns when there wasn't supposed to be.
Big gaps in what could have been and already was a great storyline.
They had one of my favorite feuds of last year. And their match at All In last year, that main event, I believe is one of the more underrated AEW matches. Yeah. I love that match. I've seen that match back about 5 times.
And that's, what you said, the unfortunate thing about injury plagues and everything like that is who knows where the original kind of story arc with all that could have gone. But we're back. It's been a long, strange trip, but we're finally almost there again.
Yes. But unfortunately, due to post-match shenanigans we'll get to, this feud must continue. Because it will always continue. When Mankind ends, this feud will still be going on, folks. Okay. So, we start off the match. MJF immediately powders, goes out there, but Adam Cole goes and just meets him on the outside. We have a nice start.
We have a really nice
start.
Big bicycle kick.
And a minute and a half in, Adam Cole gets thrown into the steel stairs, head first, and he gigs. So we are now 2 gigs within the first 4 matches of the show. Not a fan. I do got to say this. If we hadn't seen such a gruesome one
within the first 5 minutes of the match.
That's also this one was a minute and a half into the match.
Yeah.
So it kind of feels like this one they skipped the entire first part of the match and they just kind of started going into the heat segment immediately. And yeah, he gets thrown into the stairs. Gigs, and if we hadn't seen such
shut the F up spot was great.
Yeah,
that was great.
If we hadn't seen such an incredible blade job first thing in the night, this would have maybe been a bit better. But this the crowd did not react to this the way they probably would have if we hadn't seen that first one.
Right.
Yes, the shut the F up spot was great. Also, a second blade job, second F bomb. Within 30 minutes into the show, one from Will Ospreay and now one from MJF.
Yeah.
I mean, it says about 2 or 3 more before the end of the match. So good luck on that, guys.
When did Will Ospreay say the F bomb?
In his promo.
No, I thought he said the S word.
No, he said the
Not
F word.
the F word.
He said the F word. He said the F word.
Oh, okay.
He said the F word.
I thought it was
he
just
may have said both.
I thought it was just the SH.
Yeah. No.
But anyway.
We can't say this, guys. We cannot say this. That's why we're trying to do this. Anyway.
Backbreaker, the powerbomb backbreaker from MJF to cut him off.
That
like
did
I
look
thought,
incredible.
like Adam lands right on his neck. That was fantastic. Brainbuster on the knee looked a little weird on Cole's ankle, but then he ended up selling the ankle off of that. So
before that, he counters a MJF tries a Canadian Destroyer. Cole counters with a super kick. The Sean Benjamin shot.
No, that was right after that.
That was right after that.
Yeah, the Panama Sunrise, and then he sells it again because he misses that too. So and then MJF goes to work on the ankle. So it all played together really well.
Well, plus MJF too. I'm a huge fan of MJF. Goes to bite Adam Cole immediately after he starts gigging, and then Adam Cole returns the favor. He does the 10-punch spot and bites him. I thought that was great. I did mark for that. I did think that was really good.
Great stuff. MJF classic as usual.
And then MJF, he gigs too. We got a double juicer. We got a double juicer.
A double juicer.
In the middle
Beetlejuice.
of the show. Don't say it again. But yeah, double juicer. This is the 4th match on the show. Again, I don't see the point in doing it, but by the end, why not?
I mean,
this kind of felt like every other match on the show.
It doesn't feel like this is a feud ender match. It was just something to kind of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Just something to make it also violent, because we did just have like a violent match before, but I don't think
right.
I don't think nobody really bled in that match.
No, just the thumbtack.
Just the spots.
Just the thumbtack.
Just the spots. So I don't know, whatever. They tried to add something in it to make it violent and bring back some heat to their feud. So all power to them.
MJF.
And also that one spot with MJF, I never gave a SH1T about you.
Yeah.
Great stuff. Very emotional moment there.
That was some great work.
Into the figure 4. Yeah.
Adam Cole hits a Panama Sunrise and the boom, but that gets a very close 2.9 count. Very close 2.9
Huge
count.
2.9.
MJF counters a second by attacking the knee. And then he does the figure 4. And that got a nice reaction for the crowd too.
And there was a good spot in between, I can't remember exactly when this happened, where MJF pulls the Eddie spot where he jumps off the apron onto the stairs, hits his own head and gets Undisputed Kingdom
ejected. Yeah, that was I was getting to that next.
Big pop from the crowd.
I was getting to that next. And then they trade actually because at that point the ref is distracted. MJF gets the diamond ring. They go in, they keep trying to hit each other with it. Adam Cole takes it. And MJF takes it back, and then they go back and forth, and then all of a sudden MJF hits the Heat Seeker, gets the win, and
low blow first.
It was a low blow. It was a low blow. Then the Heat Seeker.
The ring gets taken away.
Yeah.
The key to the match was that the ring got taken away, and then he hit the low blow. See, I made it work.
You made it work.
I come up with that pretty well.
I cannot make it work. You tried to cover my slurring very well.
I feel like Mr. Burns trying to cover for a bad luck.
And I'm Homer in that case. But anyway, after the match, Undisputed Kingdom returns. Kind of looks like, and then Kyle O'Reilly and Roderick Strong
both make the save. Yes.
MJF tries to Pillmanize. He gets stopped.
Yep.
And
saved his ankle from getting it. Probably would have been another bone put into it, I guess, at this point.
Yeah. And this again, the ending very deflating. We don't know if Undisputed King is going to turn on Adam Cole.
Yeah.
But
it was kind of hard to say what was going to happen. You kind of thought they were going to turn on him.
I thought they were going to turn.
Or you thought he was going to turn on them?
Or I thought he was going to turn on them and we get a surprise reunion.
Yeah.
But instead, it's just Undisputed Era back together and very flat.
And Strong, O'Reilly, and Cole all just kind of beat MJF up, and then the way they just have him in the ring, in the center of the ring, and they're all just kind of standing over him. The crowd kind of starts to boo a little bit and get brooding.
Yeah, you got three babyface beating up the poor heel.
And then they set the ring on his chest and everything, and the way they're looking down on him, it kind of made me reminiscent of the whole like MJF storyline where he was coming up of how like when he was bullied and they would throw like quarters at him and stuff like that. So but then they back away and they group hug a little bit, and then the crowd seems to be into them. So I don't know. It was just a little weird at the end there, but this is obviously going to keep moving forward, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, and I honestly am not looking forward to this. Is probably my weakest match of the night. I'm going to give it a 6.
Weakest match of the night?
In my opinion.
I guess.
This was the week on the main show.
On the
not
main
including
show?
0 Hour. Not including 0 Hour. Yeah, this is, again, they've tried to save it. I'm going to give them as much credit as I can. They've tried to save it. But, again, especially considering how amazing their feud was at the end of last year, or sorry, at the middle of last year. This, I don't know, to me felt like a huge step down, and I appreciate the efforts. I wish this feud would die and they could start all over again.
It would be good to see something fresh from these guys and like being involved with other people.
Like I said, they're going to be feuding forever, and they're going to be feuding forever. Not in a fight forever. Not in a fight forever.
Forever.
But at the end of the day, I did still think it was a good match. It was very well done. Again, very much the first half of the match, they kind of skip the first part, and it's kind of just whatever. And then the second half of the match picks up very well.
Yeah.
It did pick up in the second half.
Yeah.
So.
And I'd say that was pretty much on par with the match before. Maybe a little bit better. I'm going to say 7. Maybe you could say 7.5 out of 10.
You were generous.
I'm going to stick with a solid 7 for that one because I liked the work, and I wasn't expecting it to be as good as it was, even though I kind of should have from these two guys, considering what they pulled off last year and stuff like that. But and like they got some pretty good time for the match. What are they? Around 15 minutes. So like maybe if it was longer.
It felt too long as is. I don't know. To me, I know I sound like I'm shitting on this match. I know I sound like I'm pooping on this match.
Yeah.
I know I sound like
poo-pooing it.
I know I sound like I'm being a hater here. I love these guys. I love these guys both, but I just can't get into this feud, and this feud does not make me care about the match. I just don't care.
It's a bit long in the tooth. I'll give you that. And then we had a Fight for the Fallen promos on simulcast, so that'll be an interesting thing. How January 1st, they're going to do a stream, but also still be shown on TV.
Yeah.
5 days before Raw goes on Netflix.
As you said, they beat them to their own game. They beat WWE to the streaming service, by 4 days. So, good for them. I'm hoping that this will help boost something, along with a couple of returns we saw on the show. Spoiler alert, which we'll get to.
Well, this whole thing is a spoiler alert. If you haven't seen the show, see the show.
See the show and stop here. But you should have stopped at the beginning, but whatever. Here we go.
Anyways,
speaking of meat,
we have the International Championship match. Hobbs, the meatiest man of Meat Man, and Konosuke Takeshita.
There you go.
Great match. Fantastic match for the, like I said, International Championship. Good forearm exchange to start with the meat chants going wild in the crowd. It was a big meaty meat off. And then a big shoulder tackle by Hobbs. It was almost like the pounce. Like just
it was a pounce. I think it
nails
was,
Takeshita. A good start to the match. And then he takes over for a little while. Just like, this was another match where it was a lot better than I thought it was going to be. It was just, and the crowd was like sticking with them. They weren't like, super crazy the whole time. They were,
first half they were a little deflated.
Yeah, there was
again,
some dead spots.
This is again what I'm saying about the matches tonight. First half they're kind of there, but then the second half they pull everyone. And the second half of this match I thought was fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
They do a meet off at the beginning. They do a meet off midway through. Again, gets the crowd back into it.
Yep.
Seeing Takeshita German Hobbs was like, again, everything looks better when you do it on a bigger guy, and holy crap, that did look great. And
when it was like slow and dragged out like that, like, is he gonna get him? Is he gonna get him?
And it looked beautiful.
It's fantastic stuff. And but one thing with this match, like also like working the leg right after, they did a whole big thing about working Adam Cole's leg, which is kind of more of a meatier storyline, no pun intended, because of, like the whole thing about Adam Cole's injury and everything. So I kind of felt like them working the leg here was a little bit weird, but it was still good. Like the, kind of story and psychology they did behind it and the whole match in general. But that was just one of the kind of things that kind of, for me.
Yeah, Takeshita hits a Blue Thunder Bomb, and we get the greatest reaction of all time from Don Callis, the camera custom, because Hobbs kicks out at 1, and the crowd goes crazy, and then the camera immediately cuts to Callis, and he's like, And he stands up and he's like perplexed that happened. They
just takes it off like he's about to run into the ring and just
which we know he's not
stab the referee or something. Come on. Well, he could have pulled out the screwdriver.
And then they go to the top rope. Unfortunately, there was a botch here. Luckily, both are okay. They both kind of fell.
It was a scary moment.
Yeah, I thought that maybe Hobbs had tweaked his knee or something like that, but they saved it. They brought it back up. Killer looking superplex. I'd only got a 2 as well.
Yeah.
Hobbs got a 2 with a spine buster.
Yeah, right after a big sequence. Oh man, that was that spine buster 2 count was like a lot,
and also Hobbs' selling was very good in this match towards the second half. I think.
Oh, that's what I mean. Yeah. Like not to knock that there was 2 matches in a row that this is the second match in a row rather that did working the leg, but he sold it like extremely well.
He did.
He really did. And that spine buster he does, it's good and it's great. But it's just it gets a big pop every time somebody kicks out of it, like a huge pop.
Yes.
It's great.
Arn Anderson style spine buster.
Yeah, and then the straight combo from Takeshita that leads into the guillotine, which eventually leads into him hitting the Falcon Arrow for the
3 count. Yeah. Also, one forget Hobbs hit a very very nice looking side slam off the top rope too. So that looked really good. Yeah.
And that's a different kind of thing to hit off the top rope. That's weird to kind of keep your balance like that.
I think he was losing his balance a bit, but they did save it, and I'm glad that both guys did not fall off that top rope. So anyway, yeah, by the end, I'm like you. I thought this was a great match by the end of it.
And it was an interesting spot to start working the leg when he did that kind of like reverse Death Valley driver position thing and then just slammed him right on his knees. Like, oh man. Yeah. That looked devastating. It was great.
It looked devastating.
But on the wrestle scale for me, I would go definitely better than the match before. I'm going to go 7.5 to 8 out of 10. I'm going to stick with more of the 8 out of 10 just because this one caught me off guard in terms of how much they were able to keep the crowd into it after everything they'd already seen so far. Great match.
Yeah, I'm like you. I was a bit torn on a rating. I would say between 7.5. Again, the first half didn't interest me at all, but by the time we got to that second meet-off from there to the end, boy, this match was great. Yeah. So I did really like this.
Outstanding effort, gentlemen.
Outstanding effort.
And then after that, we had a little bit of an interview segment with,
Kind of loves saying female dog a lot.
He didn't have to say much, and it was great.
No, he just has
you're on another level, but you're not on my level, bitch. Perfect. There it is. Right to Will Ospreay. Sets the tone perfectly for the match coming later.
Short and sweet. We got a underdog babyface who's been beaten to a bloody pulp, and a man with more confidence than Donald Trump. Just right there, ready to go. And that leads us into
the audacity of that statement. I ask you.
The TBS title match. It is Mercedes Moné versus Chris Statlander, which was a fantastic match.
Yeah.
In my opinion, as much as I love the opener, this may have been my favorite match up to this point.
Yeah, at this point, this was kind of like where the show felt like it went into another gear.
Yes.
In terms of the effort, in terms of the match quality, just wow. 25 minutes. This was like the longest match on the show.
This was the longest match altogether on the show.
Yeah,
it was.
Longest match on the show. Yeah.
And like Taylor here brought up, this was the first match that got the special ring intros. That
Japanese style.
The Japanese style.
With special lighting.
Special lighting. Yeah. Lighting goes down. Justin Roberts there introducing both. And it was one of only 2. The only other one was the finals of the Continental Classic, which we'll get to. But yeah, it made this match feel very important, very different from what we'd seen. And like I'd said before about matches that didn't really mean much in the first half but got great in the second half, this match was the outset. This match started off very well, and it built and built and built and built and built, and by the end it was something special. Yeah. So I loved it. I loved this going out there right away, so go ahead.
And it's a great match considering they were trying to follow up what they did at Full Gear?
No, it was a Full Gear, or was it
Wrestle Dream?
It was one of the recent shows, yeah.
Full Gear was the most recent. Anyway. Either way. Mercedes versus Statlander 2. Fantastic match. I can't believe they did this good of a follow-up to their previous match. I didn't have the highest of hopes that they would be able to compare to that because that match was so awesome, and it was really like Mercedes' final coming out party because her kind of run so far has been she's had some good matches and it almost like some good moments leading into what seemed like could have been something good, but then kind of felt stale, and just like the whole run's kind of been wishy-washy because of it.
Up until about a month and a half, 2 months ago. Which has kind of picked stuff up a lot. Yeah.
And the stuff with Camille and everything, that's been pretty good.
Which I think may be over with.
Yeah, well, due to the injuries,
Camille's gone.
Injury plagues or what?
She may already be gone from AEW. So I'm hoping not, but we'll have to wait and see. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is that
That's a shoot, yeah.
Oh, really?
Apparently she's done. Apparently she's done. It could be, it has been confirmed, no one's confirmed anything, but she may actually be not under contract with the company anymore.
Interesting.
I'm hoping that's not the case because I love Camille. So.
Yeah, and like you said, this one built and built and built. Started off like not like super slow, but like good opening spots, trade-offs, like speed versus strength, and the apron bump spots they both did to each other were crazy.
Well, yeah, that one they fought over a superplex to the outside at the beginning, and Mercedes slid under, hit a power bomb on Statlander on the apron. Fantastic looking spot.
Yeah,
fantastic.
That was so good. That was so good. And then Statlander hit the
Statlander countered a Meteora. Into a power bomb.
Yeah. That was great. So and then also a great combo at one point in the match, leading into the Chaos Theory from Statlander for the big 2 count. Like that was huge. That was great.
Before we get that too, I forgot one thing at the beginning of the match. One of my favorite moments. Mercedes goes for a crossbody off of the barricade.
Yeah, the barricade.
And Statlander catches her and carries her up the stairs, back into the ring. I thought that was great. Oh, I thought it was a very impressive display of strength right there from Statlander.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, it started off with some great showcases of both of their ability, the strength.
Speed versus power.
Yeah. Strength and size of Statlander versus the speed and ability of Mercedes Moné.
Yeah. The longer this went, the more firm the crowd was behind Statlander, I do gotta say. Like, they were behind Statlander from the beginning, but it goes from half Monet, half to fully Statlander.
Her face run is officially full gear. No pun intended.
That wasn't. But you keep saying no pun intended. You mean these puns. You look this up. I see it on your notes.
Come on, I'm not coming up with
puns. I'm kidding.
Make pun for later.
There we go. Monet with the tornado DDT for 2. Very nice looking tornado DDT, which leads into
double spring DDT. That was
which leads into not 1, not 2, not 3. I'm going to stick to time here. 7 suplexes in a row. The Eddie Guerrero. It's not the 3 amigos. 7 amigos tonight.
Siete amigos.
Siete amigos. Yes. For our friend Mercedes Moné, that was really good. Frog Splash got 2. Crowd went crazy. Crowd got to their feet, but the longer the suplex spot went. So that was a really great spot.
And it's funny how we see the package pile driver just come back on like WWE TV recently, and then Statlander hits a package pile driver for a big 2 count. But at the same time, gotta wonder if there's a message there. So that booking's kind of funny. Yeah. But
immediately after that,
good spot, good false finish there.
Immediately after that, they roll to the ring and they pull off the apron from the ring, which we were talking. I don't think we've ever seen that before, where the apron came the skirt or whatever came completely off.
Yeah, I can't remember. They both slide out, and then I think it was Statlander pulling Mercedes back, almost going for a German, and then it just came completely off.
I've never seen it naked like that. I felt like I should have been paid a fee or something like that.
And then what was it? Chris getting tied up in the what did she get? She got hit with something.
Her boot got tied up in there.
But she got hit with something on the floor.
And she got hit with a Meteora.
Yeah, on the floor.
There's a Meteora off of the ring apron to the floor.
Yeah.
Her boot was caught. She, again, this is a tribute to Eddie Guerrero the night, I guess. She takes off the boot, a la WrestleMania 20 there. Takes off her boot, continues to wrestle with one boot.
Yeah, after it was like tied up in the framework.
She needed to beat that 9 count. I don't
nice little thing.
I don't get why Mercedes went out and hit that Meteor when she could have won right then and there, but she needed to put her stamp on it. I guess she needs to.
And then tied her leg up again.
Yes.
And then that was
that did kind of throw me.
It was a weird psychology thing,
but it did look really good. It did look really good with the boot.
And then Chris takes off her boot to get out of it. That was, like you said, that was great. And then Mercedes grabs Chris Statlander off the top rope after crotching her and hits a Rikishi driver on the apron that it almost looked like it just about killed her.
Yes. No. That's between the move itself, the selling afterwards, like, oh my god, I thought something had happened.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy. Just huge bump.
And talk about close counts, she made it in at 9.5. She's been counted out of the ring. And that visual of her sliding into the ring, and Mercedes is right here, all cocky, ready to claim victory, and Statlander just slides in right behind her, was fantastic.
Yeah, she was just sitting right against the bottom rope, comes right in, right next to her, and
then we get a quote from either Austin Powers or Batman Forever. Why won't you just die? There we go.
Oh, so good. Classic moment. That really was like.
That looked really good. Again,
it's one of those
between
things,
the camera setup and everything, I thought it looked great.
It's one of those moments where it's like you can have a match with like a lot of great spots and like back and forth and like heated submission stuff where people claw their way to the ropes or stuff. But when you add in something like that where it's just like what do I have to do? Like she made it back in again after just trying to tie her up twice. Yeah. Like it was. Yeah, it was crazy.
It does. Statlander hit a couple of F5s, one onto the apron, one in the ring. Those get 2 counts.
Yeah.
And then there's a...
close submission, like I just talked about, with...
crowd chanting fight forever.
Yeah, with the bank statement, the crossface submission. Sorry.
Which then turns into an STF.
So it's probably not called that anymore.
Yeah,
it's not called the bank statement.
And then into the STF. But Statlander makes the rope.
And then the Fight Forever chant.
Fight Forever chant for
so
these
hot
guys.
For this at this point. It was just at a fever pitch at this point of the match. It was great.
And then the ending, they do a nice pinfall reverse sequence, ending with Monet holding her shoulders, but also her foot down to get that 3 count.
Yeah.
And thought it was a very clever finish to a hell of a match.
I mean, the pins, like the pin exchange at this point, like it kind of seemed a little bit disjointed, but like they got to where they needed to do. Nice, fancy, quick roll up for the pin. I almost would have preferred like a move or
to
like
end on
the tap out or something. But at the same time,
the
fact that she won clean is kind of a good thing in itself. That was still a decent way to finish the match. I mean, they did a lot of big false finishes, so
yeah.
There you go.
This match has been a bit divided from what I've seen so far, but no, I thought this was a hell of a match. Like I said, so far my pick for match of the night did not stay that way for very long, because before we get to the next match, JR comes out and joins commentary. Happy 50th, JR. We love you.
Happy 50th year in the business,
50th year in the business.
50 years.
1974, Jim Ross, man.
Yeah.
All of my childhood memories that probably led to us doing this right is Jim Ross. And
probably one of the greatest contributors to the business that never had like a full-fledged wrestling career, but took his fair share of bumps and beatings in the ring.
Thanks to that son of a bitch, Triple H.
How many times did he have to get embarrassed in his hometown? And how many great calls?
Thanks to that son of a bitch, Vince McMahon.
How many great calls has he made over the years? JR, we love you.
God is my witness.
All right, and for the ratings on this match, on the Russell scale, what would you go?
I'll go 8.5. I'll go 8.5.
8.5? I am exactly that. 8.5 for this match. Yep, I would go 8.5.
Match. Yeah, like I said, the opener was hard to top, but I think so far this one would be match of the night.
Again, I could almost go 9 with that match, but like I said, some of the psychology there, like the thing where she tied her up on the outside of the ropes, brought it down a little bit for me. Just took me out of it at a moment where it was clicking, everything was just click, click, click. Everything felt like it was going together so good, and then there was just something that kind of took me out of it a little bit.
I concur with that.
But great match. Fantastic match. And then we had the
finals
of
we're doing this one where we're at Continental
Classic.
There we go. We did it. Teamwork. We didn't prepare that, folks. We just kind of Believe it or not. Yes.
And then we had one Will Ospreay going against Kazuchika Okada, the Rainmaker himself.
Yes.
Match went about like 19 minutes, give or take. We just had the first, like I said, that match between Mercedes and Statlander really felt like it took it to the next level on the show in terms of big matches. And then this one kind of just went along with that. Somehow superseded it. Superseded. But, yeah.
Once more, we get a plug.
Amazing match, and who would have thunk it from Will Ospreay and Okada? It was just like...
I think everyone, again, is just...
I think everyone.
Who would have thunk it?
I think everyone.
Well, you mean they had a great match? They had a fantastic match? Oh, my God.
Well, Meltzer probably hated it.
Yeah. Probably only get 7 stars. Would have been 8 if it was in Tokyo Dome. Would have been 8 in Tokyo Dome.
But this was great because it was like seeing one of their New Japan. It was like seeing one of their New Japan matches take place in an American pay-per-view setting for the first time.
Only with some fantastic selling this time. Because like at the beginning, I don't mean before, but I mean at the beginning of this match.
Right.
Seeing Will Ospreay's entrance where he is stumbling, where he can barely.
And am I totally messing this up? They didn't face each other in the Classic.
In the no. It's their first time facing.
They were in separate leagues, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
They were completely separate leagues.
Because I was like, did I screw that up?
No. They haven't faced each other in the United States yet.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Fantastic match though.
So yeah, they went out there. Like I said, Ospreay really selling the beating that he gotten earlier.
Oh my god.
Again, stumbling out there, and during his entrance, he can't even get his arms up to do.
Can't even do the.
Yeah.
He's trying, folks. He's trying.
And we get a holy shit chant before the bell.
Yeah.
Which was really cool to
see. Yeah, especially when they're doing their big standoff, just waiting in the ring to,
And given the fact that the crowd had seen both of these guys already tonight, and the fact that they're chanting it now.
The crowd is already so familiar with both of these guys and the matches they've had before, which just led itself to the hype of seeing it again, especially the fact that they've already both been through a match. I wasn't sure quite how long they were going to go, especially with how poorly Will looked. I almost thought they were going to do like a Jake the Snake Roberts, Stone Cold Steve Austin ending to the tournament kind of thing, where it's
Okada
just like,
316,
or like Dolph Ziggler,
yeah. So yeah, I would have killed for that promo.
Or like Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio style, where
2013 with the double turn.
I thought almost maybe they were going to go something like that, but oh no,
they did not.
Will just comes out guns a blazing right into that big house show dive. Oh man, it was great.
We get speaking of Jake Roberts, actually, we get a DDT on the outside immediately.
And then we get a DDT.
Another DDT, Randy Orton inspired draping DDT. And
onto
then,
the floor. Okay.
And then he rolls him into the ring and hits a DDT. So yeah, you could have been close with that Jake Roberts.
All within 2 minutes, all for a 2 count.
Yes.
2 turtle drops and a DDT in the pear tree.
Wow.
But
this was last week.
Yeah, he ended up kicking out of all that, and it's just like, I don't know, whatever, give or take. I didn't love it, didn't hate it, but whatever.
At this point, too, Ospreay's bandages started to come off, and seeing Okada grab them, lick the bloody bandage, I do gotta say I did love that little detail as well.
Wipe his sweat
with them. Yep, and then first big count, we see a hidden blade counted to a flapjack, which was really good.
Yeah.
That was really good.
And then Will's been taking a little bit of a beating, and he tries to pull himself up against the ropes. He looks super weak, and then he tries to slap himself to get himself together, and then he just runs at Okada. You think he's gonna hit something, and Okada hits the flapjack. Another good little cut off, in spot there.
And then Ospreay goes to the top rope. Okada drop kicks him off the top rope.
Yeah.
And it looked for the life of me that Ospreay's knee got caught there.
Oh no! It totally did.
It looked like
snapped out.
It looked like a shoot. It looked like it was actually going to affect the rest of the match. It looked like they were going to.
He might be hurt, but a little bit. But
then I thought it was a shoot. But then there was a kick. What was it, like a super kick out of nowhere, followed by an Oz cutter off of the barricade. So not a shoot.
Yeah,
I'm glad he's okay.
Well, he might be slightly hurt. Who knows? But the way he was still able to pull off the rest of the things he did pull off in the match using his legs, and the leg that did get cut up was just he's Gumby, really.
So Okada brings back the ring. He hits an elbow, followed by I love the name of this, but John Woo kick. That was a wonderful kick, and that gets to.
Yeah.
The Rainmaker countered into a Styles Clash, bringing what we'd already seen earlier. That did finish the first match, and the crowd went nuts when they saw that because they thought it could have finished this one.
That just made this an even bigger kick out.
Yeah. And that was our first real 2.9 count of the match. That was a great way to start with those.
Yeah, and that was fantastic. Reversal into the Rainmaker for a 2 count was also another big spot in the match. Fight Forever chant took place right after that. It was just the energy at this point was just.
Then they did a sequence where there were 2 fantastic sequences within the last 5 minutes or so. The last 5 minutes of this match were outstanding, must see. And there was a couple of dropkick counters to the Oz Cutter and the Hidden Blade from Okada.
And then there was a big counter into the Rainmaker again, but then that got countered into the Spanish Fly for the big 2 count.
Ospreay hits his own, Rainmaker hits the Stormbreaker for a 2.
Yeah.
That was a very, very close 2.9.
So all this was in the last 5-ish minutes of the match. So, and then they almost had an Austin Rock style trade-off of trying to hit each other's moves on each other, which ended up Will hit, like you said, hit the Rainmaker for the 2 count, and then picked him up Stormbreaker for another 2 count at another point.
He goes for a Tiger Driver. Okada counters to a Rainmaker, and that gets a very close 2. 2.9. I said, another fantastic series that ends with Okada hitting another Rainmaker.
Yeah, after a really 15-second fast-paced sequence.
Yeah.
That was like so many fast-paced stuff towards the end of the match. It just made you think like, holy crap.
Yeah.
It was great.
Ospreay got his second win, and yeah, I don't know what else to say. That isn't going to be said about this match. It was a fantastic match, a hell of a way to end the entire tournament. This may have been the best match in the entire tournament. I'm torn between this one and the Darby Allin Ospreay match.
Yeah, the Darby Allin Ospreay match was also really, really good. The matches that took place on the Dynamite leading into this show, the last matches to decide the semifinals of the Continental Classic were all just like.
You mentioned the
ridiculous. Brody King Will Ospreay match was
yeah.
really outstanding too. So was the Ricochet and Darby Allin match, as well as the other ones on the show too. Kyle Fletcher and Daniel Garcia. The whole tournament was just really good this year. Not as big of a story element as there was last year with Eddie Kingston and his whole "you're a bum, Kingston." Ah! Yeah. I didn't hear no bell. Danielson, pretty much that whole thing going on, which was really good. But still, just a great way to end the tournament. And this, for me, was the new match of the night.
I agree.
On the Wrestle scale, for me, I would give this a 9 out of 10.
And we see fit. You see right there? 9.
9.
It's a 9 out of 10. This is the best match on the show. Now, spoiler alert for what we got one more match to go. This is the best match on the show. Like I said, hell of a way to end the tournament. And before we get to the main event, we see the return of Christopher Daniels. He comes out and he says...
It was Christopher Daniels?
Yeah. He says he's no longer an EVP, and an EVP needs to present that title belt to Okada.
Someone else is an EVP.
And after more than a year, Canada's own Kenny Omega beating New Japan to the return because...
Well, actually, he's from North Carolina!
Okay, North Carolina's own Kenny Omega. And he beats New Japan to the return. We all thought he'd be returning on that January 5th show, but he returned early. It was rumored that he would be here all week. I'm very glad he showed up. Got a massive reaction from the crowd. He walks to the ring with the title, hands it to Okada. They have a stare-off. The crowd goes nuts for that. So
shakes his hand, that whole deal, and it was just very kind of almost slightly somber. And Kenny had this almost look of doubt on his face, am I going to be able to come back to this? I mean, it does seem like if they're going to do something like this, he's coming back. And he's already got that match with Gabe Kidd.
That's scheduled on January 4th.
So, he's coming back, but he just had that look of doubt on his face, which to me is a really good, selling point as to when he actually does have that first match, is he going to be able to shake off the rust? When he gets that first hit to the stomach, abdomen area, is he going to be okay? It's going to be interesting going forward.
Yes, and it was wonderful to see Kenny back after all this time, and AEW does really need him, despite what he may think in that interview. AEW does really need him. He was very missed.
He's going to be a boost.
Hopefully, this will be an injection into AEW. We can get a little bit more steam going, along with another return, which we'll get to the match we're getting into right now, which is the main event.
The AEW World Championship match.
It is Jon Moxley, the world champion, against Jay White, against Orange Cassidy, and against Hangman Adam Page. Sorry about that. And
easy on
I was talking to the desk, not to you. I was talking to the desk. Sorry about that. So this was after a night of I was pointing out every single match on this main show was a one-on-one match. Mm-hmm. So there were no party matches, which is very rare for AEW.
Well, except for on the
pre-show.
Yeah, there was an 8-man tag.
There was an 8-man tag on the pre-show, but on the main show, no big party matches, no big fast-paced matches where there's a million moves a minute and everything
in terms of multi-man, there was matches where they had a lot of sequences that. But I know what you mean.
They saved the party stuff for the main event. I actually, up until the finish of this, I was expecting the Continental Classic to be the main event.
Yeah.
And I thought that going all the way through, I'm like, that still should have been the main event. But then when we got to the end, I saw why they put this as the main event. So
you got to put the World Championship match. Also, I think you got to put it ahead of that Continental Championship. To me, if the Continental Classic Championship was just a trophy and it meant a world title shot, then I could have seen that going on last, and they still could have done, let's just say, certain stuff that they did after this match in the middle of the show or something. They could have had this in the middle of the show, and I feel like it would have been just as good of a match and everything would have been just as impactful, to be honest.
So they all come out, and Jon Moxley...
One man's opinion.
Yeah, one man's opinion, but it does mean a lot. Everyone comes out. Jon Moxley comes out with the Death Riders by his side, as always. Mm-hmm. gets to the ring and immediately runs out, immediately powders, and immediately afterwards, Orange Cassidy with a suicide dive to kick things off.
Perfect way to set it off.
Yes.
Like John Moxley just like, I'm going to let y'all argue it out, and then they are arguing it out, and then Orange Cassidy...
Over who gets to beat the crap out of him most. That's what they're arguing.
And then Orange just... I know where the target is. Like, you know what I mean? It was a good way to start.
Target was on John Moxley. It's like everyone was ganging up on him at the beginning.
Yeah.
And a couple minutes in, we got the
crowd brawl.
We missed the big crowd brawl with I keep calling them Blackpool Combat Club. The Death Riders, each taking a person.
Well, that's what they were called.
That's what they were called, but I don't know what they're called now.
What, you don't like BCC?
Yeah, well, that BCC, the guy who created the group, is now working for the competition, so it's a little weird. So security pulls the Death Riders to the back, so it feels like we're going to have a regular fight now. And immediately we got a triple team on Moxley. Very funny spot where Orange Cassidy puts his hands in his pants, as he usually does. Yeah. And then everyone comes up, grabs Moxley from behind, and he gets that Superman punch right to the face, leading to a tribute to Moxley's alma mater and Shield Powerbomb through the table.
Except no ooh-wah to go with. And then, which actually led to him getting a pretty nasty gash or a cut. It seemed like, I don't know if it was on the back of his head.
It was.
Or if it was
right
on the back of his ear and it just bled towards the back of his head.
No, it was on the back of his head.
Okay, yeah, it was on the back of his head.
Crazy, and I couldn't believe it.
Pretty nasty looking.
I'm surprised that someone didn't come out and stitch that up. I know Moxley loves to wear his blood, his wounds. But that's a very dangerous looking spot to bleed from. So he's fine. From what I heard, he's fine.
Probably hit it on one of the monitors or something.
Probably.
Because the way they kind of jut out a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he
had a nasty, it wasn't, but it was like a scar, a red mark on his back from where he went through as well.
True. It was nasty. And then Hangman was taking over for a little bit on both guys. Hit a nice, like, kind of cool looking follow-away slam into the corner. A little
Orange
bit.
Cassidy.
That was good. That was good on Orange Cassidy. Yeah. And then at some point, like during the action, we got some shot of Christian Cage in the crowd sitting with the crew. Mama Wayne, Nick Wayne. Killswitch wasn't there.
Patriarch.
Yeah, the Patriarch
was not there.
Yeah. And then
immediately across from him is Hook, who just beat Nick Wayne yesterday.
Oh no, Rampage.
On the final match, final episode of Rampage.
Yeah.
So Christian looks none too pleased about that, but that was a funny little sight, and Hook got a big reaction along with Christian.
And then they did a thing right after that where Christian points to that clipboard case thing that he has, so it's
we'll call it Money in the Bank. Yeah, call it Space Bait.
As many people are already in this match, they're still trying to show that there's still so many arrows aimed at the target on John Moxley, shall we say?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially Christian, who could come in right after this match, so it kind of adds to the tension and drama a little bit, which was good.
It was just back and forth. This was one of those matches
a lot
where
of trade-off
pretty much
between Orange Cassidy and Jay White at this point.
Yeah, it was pretty much just one guy hits a move, one guy hits a move, one guy hits a move, and it was all done that to kill time till Moxley recovered. Moxley recovered, comes in, and again, even after he comes in, it was fast paced, but it was one of those matches where pretty much like move, and no one was really in control. There's no real heat. It just keeps going.
Everybody gets to look good.
Everyone gets to look good. Again, they did not do a party match on the actual, like a fast-paced multi-man match like this on the undercard.
Yeah.
So seeing this was actually a nice breath of fresh air after a bunch of singles matches.
Right.
So I do got to point that out. It was.
Fair enough.
If we had seen like a Young Bucks 6-man on then this probably wouldn't have felt as special.
And then they had a nice thing when Moxley does get back into the action where they're big move, everybody's kind of hitting some of their signatures, and then a big tilt-a-whirl into a DDT by Orange Cassidy on Mox, and then everybody's down, big quadruple down, I guess you could say.
Yeah, it was a quadruple down.
Yeah, quadruple down, good stuff. That was a great little moment, the crowd loved it, and then everybody gets up and, kind of having that almost like Mexican standoff sort of thing, and then Orange Cassidy just
timbers right over.
Just falls right out.
Just collapses.
Oh, that was
both
great.
Funny and also
wow. Yeah, that was great stuff. So a lot of Orange Cassidy gets a lot of hate for all the hate that he gets. The guy's in great shape. He's a great wrestler, and he has this gimmick that he's been working on for I think it's over 10 years if I'm not mistaken.
He's been Orange Cassidy,
you know what I mean? So it's just like
he puts a lot of work, he puts a lot of effort into it, and I'm personally someone who's not a fan of Orange Cassidy in the main event scene, but I do got to say the past couple of he's really pushed himself to that level to make a more believable opponent for John Moxley.
Well, not only that, like he's taken that darker side recently, which is cool.
Yeah.
Like the black jeans and stuff like that instead. But like his whole kind of thing in a match like this kind of reminds me of like a serious moment in like an Avengers movie, but then there's that joke that kind of like breaks everything up for a second.
But that's also like a thing where it's like you want to get into a moment, then a guy comes in and says, "Oh, I'm here now." Like again, I've liked Orange Cassidy, but like not in a main event scenario. Just in my opinion. But as I said, the past couple shows, I really loved that darker side he's taken. I did really enjoy his match with Moxley at Full Gear, and I did like his performance here too. So I do got to point that out. We hit a point where he gives everyone an orange punch. Well, you get an orange punch. You get an orange punch. You get an orange punch. Everyone gets an orange punch. Everyone gets
one orange punch.
There we go. And that's what kicks off the finisher spasm.
Yeah, and then Hangman breaks the count on. So I can't remember if Orange hit the punch on Moxley last. Or,
it was on Moxley.
And then it goes to the pin, and then Hangman pulls out the referee, and then ends up hitting, like, at some point Hangman hits a Deadeye on Mox, but then ends up hitting another one on him.
No, he hits a Deadeye, then he hits the buckshot lariat to Orange and Jay White.
Yeah.
Then he hits another...
He's going to set up a buckshot on Mox, and then Yuta grabs the leg from the outside, and then...
It's a Deadeye to Mox, and then the buckshot afterwards. That gets a 2 count.
Yeah, big 2 count there. Yeah, and then White comes in, hits a Blade Runner on... wait, was that...
First it was... hang on. First we got to get to this. Hangman needed that referee, and he just pulled out... Yeah. Now he's calling for the ref. Another ref comes down. By the time he's there, Orange Cassidy's rolled him up, and he gets a 2 off of that.
Yeah, and then Orange gets the 2 off of that.
And then Jay White comes in. He hits the Death Rider onto both.
No, not Death Rider. Jay White?
Sorry, not the Death
Jay
Rider.
White. Blade Runner.
Blade Runner, thank you. It's the Blade Runner onto both, and then he hits it onto Hangman Page. Hangman Page rolls out of the ring to avoid getting pinned. And in comes Wheeler Yuta, I believe.
Maria Shafir.
Maria Shafir.
And then he hits
getting the biggest pop of the match. Hits the Blade Runner out of intuition on Maria Shafir.
Yeah, it was great.
That was great.
It was almost seemingly like unintentional, like he thought it was Wheeler Yuta or something. So that's how they kind of sold it.
Then he hits it on. Then he hits it on Jon Moxley. Goes for the 3. Wheeler Yuta hits the referee. Takes the referee out of the match.
Yeah.
And then...
hits the Psycho knee kick on Jay White, and then low blow, or was it a low blow? And then Death Rider by Mox for the win. Yeah.
What a crazy match. What a crazy intense finish.
Yeah, and a lot of stuff going on in this match.
Yeah, that was kind of, again, what I liked and what I hated about it.
They tried to incorporate everybody that was on the outside, too, and, and trying to incorporate, like, the tension of, like, Christian Cage also kind of being around, waiting in the wings. It was just, it was a lot going on, but it was a really good match. At the end of the day, it did what it needed to. It just showed that all the infighting between the AEW guys is what Jon Moxley has been talking about, and why he gets these advantages, and why he deserves to be the AEW champion, and why he should be in that spot. Right. So it kind of goes with that like storyline really well, and it was just it was a good match.
How'd you rank this one?
On the Wrestle scale, I would rank this one. I went with an 8.
With an 8?
Yeah, I went with an 8.
You were a bit more generous than me. I would say a 7 for this one. I debated back and forth. My whole thing with this is that it literally just felt like a finisher spasm to me.
Interesting.
A 15-minute long, 16-minute long finisher spasm.
16 minutes roughly.
And again, it was very fast paced. We didn't see a match like this on the show. But yeah, it's just like, it was like big move, kick up, big move, some guy takes a hike, big move, two people are there.
But I thought one thing that really kind of saved it, I thought one thing that really kind of saved this match is that at certain points, everybody got to seem like it really seemed like each person had a point where they could win.
Again, yeah.
You know what I mean?
The last...
it really seemed believable, like, hey, if this is going to be the finish... It does seem either too soon or whatever, but I could see it ending this way.
Yeah.
Like when Orange Cassidy was hitting all the orange punches and, went into his thing. When Paige was hitting the buckshot lariats and the dead eyes and stuff like that on everybody. When Jay White, especially when Jay White came in and hit those when he hit that second Blade Runner and got that false finish, right before he hit one on Maria Shafir or whatever, I was like, that was a really good 2 count.
I'm also shocked that this one did not go a bit longer. It felt like the finish felt like it did come out of nowhere. I thought that the Death Rider would be a kick out.
I think we're running long on time in the show at this point too. Maybe. It was I think it was like 11:30ish.
Yeah.
At this point, so.
Plus, they still had a big moment to come afterwards. Man, what was that moment, Taylor?
Well, that moment would have been yet another return, a Canadian return.
Another Canadian return. We already have one. Yeah.
We get, FTR first. Sorry. This just totally
You just deflated FDR. You bet.
totally sounds like a
FDR
crap
comes
on
out.
FDR comes back first. That was also big. I love FDR. FDR is great. Hearing that music again was great. And it didn't seem like they weren't going to be back for a lot longer, so the fact that they came back is fantastic. But then as soon as they kind of come out, which is why I kind of skipped over it a little bit, because they got, maybe like 20 seconds, and then the lights go out. Bam, 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 bam.
I think you know me.
You think you know me. Cope's music hits. The Rated R Superstar comes out and makes the save, beats everybody's ass, gets the Death Riders out, him and FDR. FDR hits the Shatter Machine. Big spear.
Yep.
Oh, it was good stuff. Good, hot, heavy, good babyface stuff.
There were a couple of miscues with production. They hit Copeland's music immediately after he grabs the mic.
Yeah,
and then they had
when
to
they clear the
shut it off.
the ring, and then his music hits, and he meanwhile he's grabbed the mic and is trying to go and talk in it, and
and they shut the music off, and then poor Cope, he grabbed a bit of a fault. The mic wasn't on at first, and he tries to talk, tries again. Finally, the third time it does work, and he tells Moxley that you're mine, and that this is my house, and this is...
no, he says, I called you kid because you were growing pubes when I started doing this. Great line. I just butchered it a little bit, but it was a good way to send the fans home happy. Great way to end the show.
Yeah, crowd loved Edge's return. They popped like crazy for him. What do they call it? FT Rated R? Is that what they're calling it?
Yeah, Rated FTR.
Rated FTR.
Yeah.
Rated FTR.
Yeah, we saw that logo on the screen. It looked cool.
Yeah, and they announced the end of the show. They did have a banger match for their simulcast coming up on Wednesday.
Yeah.
It is a 6-man tag. It is Rated FTR against the Death Riders. So
yes, that'll be a fantastic match.
That'll be a fantastic match.
Have we said fantastic match too much? Have we said it enough?
Said it, yeah. I think we should start a fantastic jar right here every time we say it. Put $1 in. So as a whole, Taylor, how would you rank the show?
Well, overall, I would say the show. With a letter grade on this one, I would give the show B+.
Yeah.
B+ from me.
I'd agree. Felt like a different kind of pace show from AEW, and I really enjoyed it. Again, I love the breathing between the matches. I love the fact that there were only 8 matches. I love the fact that most were singles matches.
It was your stereotypical by the numbers AEW kind of show where you get just a lot of great matches. That sometimes you'll get like 1 or 2 of these on TV. Or sometimes just one, and this was just like another pay-per-view that was just loaded with them.
And
great matches.
Again, I really wish that AEW would step up their story game a bit. Mm-hmm. And it looks like we got a brand new year. We got a brand new year.
Yeah, like you said, also with this one, it got a little bit more breathing room, which was nice.
Yes. No, Tony, because that's been a big criticism of AEW pay-per-views in the past, is that it's just go. Mm-hmm. They did let this one breathe. I think Tony is listening a lot to that kind of criticism, and I'm glad that we got that. So, I'll go a B for this one. I really enjoyed this. Maybe leaning towards a B+ too as well.
But B.
I did really love the show, and I thought this was a very good show.
Yeah.
And
it did a good job of building, starting off with a really hot match, and then kind of building back, calming down a little bit, kind of building back up, having some still really great matches in between, but by the time they got to the last 3 matches, it just like felt like it had built back up again, which was good. But yeah, that's I think all for us. I hope everybody's had a happy holidays.
And thank you very much for watching. We appreciate it. We'll see you next time.
And this has been yet another wrestling show.
I thought I was ending it. You always do this to me, man. Come on. Oh.